Okay, so as I was saying, we are going to learn about application in Salesforce, or we call it in short form as app. So app basically is like a container for all the object tabs and other things here. It simply consists of application name, logo, then some order tabs, okay, and these 9 dots, which is app launcher. So each and every application will have this. So we have basically two types of application. First is standard application. So standard app means the app which comes with every instance of Salesforce by default. Okay, so this sales is standard application. Similarly, we have service, which is a standard application. Then we have marketing, which is a standard application. Okay, so it includes like sales, service, marketing. Okay, all these are standard application. So these standard apps can be customized according to the need and requirement of the organization, but this particular label, description, and this logo, okay, in standard app cannot be changed. Okay, we cannot change this name, we cannot change the logo of any standard application. However, if there is a need in our organization to have only, let's say, 5 tabs, okay, in this organization, sorry, in this application, then we can remove other tabs from here, or if there is a requirement for more tabs, then we can add more tabs as well. Okay, the only restriction here is we cannot change the name of the standard application, and we cannot change the logo. Then second type is custom app. Okay, so the app which are built to meet specific business requirement, okay, of the organization. Those app we can create it. So custom apps can be made of grouping some standard as well as custom tabs, meaning that the objects here. Okay, so we can add this. Okay, if there is any custom object, that can also be added in that particular custom application. And logo and name, it can be changed even after they are created. Okay, so this is the major difference between standard and custom application. This particular in custom application, we can change the name and we can change the logo. So as I have already created a custom application, I'm just going to show it to you guys. So when I click on this line dot, I'm going to open this recruiting application. So this application we created for the last batch. Okay, this is the recruiting application, and we have added some of the object tabs. Okay, and there are some of the records. So today for our practical, what we are going to do is we are going to create the exact same recruiting application here. Okay, so before creating that, what I'm going to do is I will try to rename this so that when we are going to create it, we will not get any error message. Okay, so just bear with me for 2 minutes. So in order to create any custom application, you will have to go to setup. Then here enter app manager and click on app manager. So in the app manager, you will see all the applications which are present in your organization. Okay, all this standard and custom. So as you see here, everything is standard except our recruiting application. I'll just try to see whether I can change the name. Just be with me for 2 minutes. If not, then I guess. Okay, now we can create the new application from scratch. Okay, so we will not get any error message. Okay, so I'm going to go to the setup. In the setup, it's app manager. Click on app manager, and here we have a button called new lightning app. Click on that lightning app, then you will have to enter your app name, which is recruiting app. You can enter description, you can upload logo as well, but as I don't have any logo as of now or image, okay, I'm going to leave it as it is. But if you have any image, you can upload it over here so that the logo here will change for that particular application. Okay, only for the recruiting application. Then next, okay. Now, this is the app option. Okay, here we have two different types of navigation style. So first is standard navigation and second is console navigation. So let's understand what is standard navigation and console navigation. Okay, so I'm going to open the sales application here. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, this is the standard navigation where you will see all the tabs are added in this particular bar like this. Okay, and when we open any particular record, okay, only one record opens at a time. And this particular standard navigation is majorly used in the business, okay, and this is globally used actually. And then we have the second navigation, which is console navigation. So this type of navigation, console navigation, will have a different look than the standard navigation. And console navigation is used only in for support businesses. So let's say there is a company who provides support to their users, to their customers, okay? And customers, when they face any particular issue, they create a ticket with that particular company. Let's take the example of Salesforce, okay? Now you are using the Salesforce org, and when you get some error or some issues in your Salesforce org, right? You create a ticket with Salesforce support so that they can help you. Okay. So in that scenario, in support industry, console navigation is used. So let me show you how console navigation looks. First of all, let me duplicate this. Okay. This is the console navigation. Okay, so here this is the console navigation and this is the standard navigation. The major difference is no, right? The tabs are added in this particular bar, but here in console navigation, you will see all the tabs added here and you can go to that tab one by one using this drop down. Okay, now I am on the cases tab right now. Okay, and from recently view, let's say open all the cases. So we have total 3 cases. Okay, so I can open all these tabs in one page. Okay, you see, I have opened all this tab in one page. Okay, but here in standard navigation, we can open only one record at a time, but I have opened here 3 records at a time. It is useful for the support people, okay, who give support. Let's say they have already some similar tickets to look at, okay, with the issue which you have created a ticket. or they might be checking your past history of creating tickets or something like that. Okay, so this is majorly used in support business and all over the world. This standard navigation is used. Okay, only this is the difference, nothing else. Okay, only this is the main difference here. The data and everything will be the exact same. So for a recruiting application, we are going to use this standard navigation, okay, not console navigation. Supported form factor will be by default desktop and phone. If you only select desktop, okay, then it will be only applicable for your desktop and not phone. If you only select phone, then it will be only applicable for phone. That's why I'm going to select desktop and phone. Setup services is full setup option. Okay, I'm not going to make any changes over here. This particular setting says disable end user personalization of navigation item in this app. So this particular feature, what it does in navigation, you see here is pen, right? Personalize your nav bar, meaning navigation bar. So this pencil will be disappear if I select that checkbox, okay, for the recruiting application. As of now, I can see because I have access to it. So in real-time scenario, if you don't want your user to change any tabs or add any tabs here, then in that scenario, you can disable this particular feature. Okay, but I'm not going to do it right now here. Just keep it as it is, then click on next. Okay, so this is the utility item. So what is utility item? So here, as you see in the picture, okay, this is the page, and on this page at the bottom you see a bar where call option is added, time option is added, notes option is added. Okay, so this is particularly a utility bar. Okay, and here in utility bar we can add different types of utility items. For example, for call, for taking notes, or for history. Okay, so let's say you are in a support business and your day-to-day job is to call your customers, okay, on daily basis. So instead of going here and you know clicking here or taking number, what your company can do is maybe they have some integration with any third-party application which is Ring Central or Phone Central, okay, and that option gets here. So when you open any particular record, you can directly call it from that utility bar without going into the record and checking for the phone itself. Okay, that purpose it can use. So you can use it to take notes, you can use it to see the history. Okay, so we have different options. Yeah, like exactly like this. So here we have to-do list, right? So if I click on this, okay, I can add new task, but I'm not going to add it here and click on next. Okay. Now this is the navigation item where you can add objects in your application. Okay, so the object which I am going to add is account object tab. Okay, only this one, not any other object tab. I will going to add only account object tab. So what I did is when you are here, click on it. That means you have selected it. Okay, you will see that it's somewhat gray, and then click on this add button. So as soon as you do that, it will get added into the navigation item. Okay, it says available item and it is selected item. Okay, now this is added. Okay, now I'm going to click on next, and this is the last page, okay, of our application which says user profile. So So basically what happens is when you create any application, custom application, okay, and you added tabs there for your users to see, but if you don't give the access to that particular profile, okay, users will not be able to view it, okay. Even though you can see as an admin in the backend that the application is created, everything is correct, still users won't be able to see because you haven't given them access. So on this page, you can give them access. Okay. So we will give access to system admin. Why system administrator? Because our profile is system administrator. Okay. By default, when you created your Salesforce developer org, okay, Salesforce has by default assigned you this system administrator profile. Okay, so if we don't give access to that particular profile, even we will not be able to see. Okay, that's why we are going to give access to the system administrator. Okay. Okay. Now everything is done, everything is completed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on save and finish. Okay, let's see our recruiting application is created. Okay, now let's go here. I'm going to refresh the page. And we click on this app launcher, which is 9 dots, and search here recruiting app. Okay, so this is the new recruiting app which we just created. And here we have account tab. Okay, now as an admin, you have created your first custom application. Later on, let's say your client or customer comes back to you and says that we want some changes in this particular application, right? Maybe they want to add some other tabs over here, or they want to change logo. So this all you can do, okay, for any custom application. So what you'll have to do is you just have to go to the app manager page. Okay, go to that application and then click on this drop down button and click on edit. So once you do edit, okay, it will be in the edit mode, and then you can add more features in it. Let's say I can change the name, I can upload the image, I can add utility items, I can add navigation items. Okay, later on, let's say some other team also needs to have access to this particular application, so we can give access using this user profile. Okay, all we can do that. Okay, by coming back to this application setting. So this was the demo of the creation of custom application in Salesforce. Any questions in that? Okay, okay, great. Now, second thing which we are going to see is objects. Okay, and as you know, we have two different types of objects. One is standard and one is custom. So in previous class, we went through the standard objects and understand that what are the use of that particular objects. Okay. Now today we are going to create custom object, okay, for a recruiting application. Okay, so before that, let me stop the screen sharing section just for 2 minutes. Okay, so let me share my screen again. So we are going to create our first custom object, which is position object in Salesforce. Okay, so let's see how we can create this object in Salesforce. So to create this object, we'll have to go to the setup first and just try to understand that why we are creating this position object. So basically, track positions in all stages of the process. Okay, so from, let's say, uh, those who have been filled or cancelled, okay, all the position. Okay, so we have created a recruiting application, and in recruiting application we are going to create two objects. So the first is position object to track all the position in all the stages. Okay, and the second is candidate object. Candidate object is to track all of the candidates who apply for a particular position. Okay, so for this demo we are going to create the position object. So for that, go to this setup. Go to Object Manager, and remember, whenever you have any type of modification for any particular object, okay, always go to this Object Manager. Okay, so Object Manager, and from here we are going to create a new one. So as you see, these are all the standard ones from Salesforce. Now we are going to create a new one. So I just clicked on this create button and then custom object. Okay, great. Now here we'll have to fill up the information. So first is label. So label will be position. Okay. Second will be plural label. Okay. So here example is also given. If your object name is account, then plural label will be accounts. Why it takes plural label? So that it can be added here. Okay. When you create any particular object, that object doesn't contain only one record, right? It can be multiple records, and that's why plural label. So we are going to give the plural label as positions. Object name it has automatically taken. Description, let's say this object is to store information about open jobs at a company. Okay, now leave this as it is. Then this particular function. Enter record name, label, and format. Okay, so basically what happens is when you create any particular custom object, that time the name field will get created by default, okay, from Salesforce only. So doesn't matter what type of object you are creating or what object you are creating, the name field will always be created Okay, so Salesforce has given us two different options to create this name field. One is text, that means you can or user can enter some values in that particular text object, text field, and second is auto number. So if you are selecting this auto number, then what will happen? Salesforce will automatically create a number. But before that, at the time of object creation, we'll just have to give some display format, okay, and starting number. So here as an example, display format is given, and let's say starting number is 1, okay. But for this object, we want to store information in a text box. Why? Because position name can be different, right? Maybe Salesforce admin position is there, Salesforce developer position is there, Java position is there, Java developer, okay. So to store that information, we are going to use the text type of field, and the record name will be position name as it is. If you want to make any changes over here, you can do that. Okay, now optional features we have. So here we have allow reports, allow activities, track field history. Okay, now you can leave it as it is. Okay, later on, let's say if there is any need to create any particular report, okay, so what you can do is you can always come back to this setting page of the object, okay, and you can select this particular checkbox, okay. So what will happen is Salesforce will give the ability to create reports on this particular object. Okay. Similarly, for activities for field history tracking, I'm going to select this as it is now. But as I said earlier, these are optional features. You can keep it as it is, and later on you can select these checkboxes as per your business requirement in the real-time scenario. Then the object classification, I'm not going to touch it. Okay, it will be as it is by default. All the checkboxes are checked by Salesforce only. Then the deployment status. So we have two different deployment status: in development and deployed. So what is the difference between in development and deployed? So let's say that you are working in a real-time organization, real-time Salesforce, or okay, and you are creating a particular object and you don't want your user to see that particular object, okay, in the production organization. Why? Because it might be still in the testing mode and only admin should have access to it, right? So in that scenario, you can keep the status as in development, so that what will happen, even though you have given access to your user for this particular object, they won't be able to view it. Okay, once let's say your testing is done, is completed, and now the objects are ready to use for your users, then what you can do is you can change the deployment status from in deployment to deployed. Okay, so that user will have access to it and user will be able to see it. Okay, but as of now here, we are going to keep this as deployed. Then search status. So we can check this checkbox allow search, so that we will be able to search the records here in the global search box. And these options add notes and attachment related list to default page layout. This option is only available when we are first creating the object. Once the object is created, then we don't have any option to create the add notes and attachment to that particular object. Okay. And also this particular feature, notes and attachment, is going to go away in future, because Salesforce has the alternative option called files. Okay. So in files, we can add the attachment also. But as of now, I'm going to add this. Okay. Now this particular last option is for to create the tab like this, like Okay, tab like this. Okay, if you don't create a tab, then what will happen for this particular application or any other application, even though the object is present in the system, access is there, everything is correct, but the tab is not created. Okay, then what will happen? You won't be able to see that tab. Okay, and you won't be able to add it in this particular application. So for that, we are going to create the tab. Let's say while doing this in your personal demo, or you might forget to create a tab from here, then you can always create it later also. Okay, how I'm going to show it to you. So click on setup. In the quick find box, okay, this particular quick find box here, you can find all the settings over here. So I'm going to search for tab. Click on tabs. Okay. And now click on new. And then whatever object is created, okay, you have created, that object will come. So remember that you can create one tab per object. You cannot create multiple tabs for one object. Okay. So select that particular object, tab style, and then save it. But I'm going to launch it from here only. Launch new custom tab wizard after saving this custom object. So I'm going to click on save button now. Before doing that, just review all this. So we have given label, we have given plural label. Okay, object name it has automatically taken. We have given the description as well. The record name is there as position name and data type is text. We have selected these three checkboxes. These checkboxes was by default checked. Okay, deployment status is deployed and allow search checkboxes checked, and these two checkboxes are also checked. Now I'm going to save this. So it will directly take me to the tab. Okay, so this will be exact same as you see here. Okay, earlier we were not able to see the object. Why? Because that object was not created in the system, but now the position object is created. Okay, and that's why the position object is shown here in the objects. Now tab style, let's say anything, maybe circle, and click on next. Okay, now this page can give access to your profiles. Okay, so all these are standard profiles created by Salesforce. So here we have two options. Either we can give this access by default on to all profiles. Okay, now this is our demo all. So we are going to give this to all the profiles, but in real time scenario, there might be requirement that the only the objects, custom object and tab should be only available for any particular profile, let's say, which is the standard profile or maybe solution manager. So in that scenario, what you can do is make it as default off or default hidden. Okay, and only make it as default on for that particular profile who actually needs access. Okay, so that other users, okay, won't be able to see that particular tab and won't be able to access that particular object. Okay, only standard users will be able to access that particular tab. But here we are going to make it available for each and every profile because this is a demo or developer part. Okay, next. Now, this is the list of all applications which are present in the system, and here you see we have two applications, recruiting app old, and this is the one recruiting app new. Okay, so from here you can add that particular object tag here. Okay, let's say even though you do not add this particular tab from here, then you can always come back to the object app manager. And from here, navigation item, you can always add it. Okay, from here, you can always add it. So I'm going to select this here only recruiting application, or you can keep it as it is so that it will be added to all the application. But I just want it to for a recruiting application, okay, which I just created and then save. That's it. Okay, now refresh the page. And you see the position tab is added, and now you can create new records also. So when I click on this new button, okay, I see here position name and owner. That's it. No other information. Why? Because when we created this particular object, okay, that time only position name was created, and this owner field, and there are two other fields which are by default created by Salesforce. So these are all standard fields created by last modified by owner field and position name. Okay, so once the object is created, we are going to create some fields. So before creating those fields, just give me a few minutes. Okay, so we are going to create some fields over here. Let's say status field, and I'm going to show it to you how you can create some custom fields in Salesforce. Okay, so this object is created. Okay, now let's say that you want to create some fields for this particular tab. Or object. So I'm going to show it to you from scratch. So let's go to setup. Now go to object manager. Search here the object which we have just created, which is position. And then go to fields and relationship. So in fields and relationship, you will see all the standard fields. In details, you will see all this information like description, name, API name, and other things. So these are showing checked because we have checked it while creating the object. Okay, so you can always go to edit button and change the status, change this, change the name as well. Okay, let's go to fields and relationship again. And now we are going to create a field called status so that it will have a drop down, okay, like this. If I go to edge communication detail, so we will have a drop down like this, okay, and from that drop down we can select one value at a time. So let's see how we can do that. So click on this new button. So once you click on this new button, Salesforce will give you the option for different data types. Okay, data types mean this type of field you can create. So we have different types. For example, we have checkbox, we have currency, we have date, email, phone, we have text, we have pick list, okay? And what that data type actually does, okay? The description is also given on the right hand side. For example, let's say for checkbox, it says allow users to select true means checked or false means unchecked value. Date. Allow users to enter a date or pick a date from a pop-up calendar. Okay, now let's see for text. Allow users to enter any combination of letters and number. Then we have phone, we have number, okay, we have pick list. So what it does, allow users to select a value from list you define, right? So what we want pick list here because we want to define some list, and from that list user should be able to select only one value at a time. So as you see here, we have a different option, which is pick list multi-select. Okay, this is similar to pick list, but the only difference is you can select multiple values at a time. Okay, it says allow users to select multiple values from the list you define. So we want here pick list. Okay, then click on next. Name will be status. And then we are going to select this one, enter values with each value separated by new line. And then we are going to add some values over here like this. Okay, so one line, you, even though maybe you have 5 to 4 different options and you maybe think that I can just give comma and add some options, so it will not going to take it. Okay, one line means one option. Salesforce will consider it as one option. So whenever you have to give number of options, always type your first option, then in next line type your second option, exactly like this, which I have written over here. Okay, then you can display the value alphabetically as well. Okay, you can make this particular field required. You can give some description, you can give some help text. So what is the meaning of help text? Okay, so when normal users, non-admin user, okay, because as the admin, your job will be to create account, fields, and other functionality in Salesforce. But the non-admin user who are actually going to use that particular objects and fields, okay? So for their understanding, you can give them help text. So help text will be a small icon like this, okay? And when you hover over on them, it will explain what that field is and what that user has to enter a value, okay? It is very important like this, okay? So or like this, so it says this text displays on detail and edit pages when user hover over the info icon next to this particular field. Okay, so you can give the help text, let's say select one value from the status or something like that. Okay, so it will help users to understand what that particular field is, okay, and what type of information they have to enter there. I'm going to keep this as it is, and I'm not going to make the field as required, because if I make this particular field as required, then what will happen? It will become the universally required field, and I won't be able to sorry, able to save the record, okay, before selecting any values. So I'm just keeping it as it is. So I have given name, I have entered values, okay, and these checkboxes were already checked by default, so I'm not going to touch it. Now, next page. Okay, so this particular next page here, from here, you can set the field level security. Okay, meaning that you can grant access to this particular field to your users, okay, via profile. So here we have all the profiles, okay, and by selecting checkboxes, visible means read and edit. Read only means they can only read that particular value, means they can only view that particular value, but they cannot make any changes or edit it. Visible means read as well as edit. Okay, so in real time scenario, you may have to uncheck all these checkboxes and only give access to the correct profile only. Okay, and next, and this is the last page, okay, where it says that the field will get added to the page layout by default. So it will get added below this position name. Okay, I'm going to save it now. Okay, so you see here our first custom field is created, and the first custom field status is showing as underscore underscore C. So whatever custom you create here in Salesforce, all that will show as underscore underscore C, even though you created this position, which is custom object, okay, it is also showing underscore underscore C. That doesn't mean you have to enter underscore underscore. Okay, you can enter whatever name it is. Salesforce will automatically add this underscore underscore to any custom field or object or whatever customization you are going to do. That will have this underscore underscore c. Okay. Any question in creating object and creating fields? So what I'm going to do is I will share the assignment with you guys, which will have all the steps, one by one steps of creating object, and then that sheet will have number of fields and the data type is also mentioned there. So you can always select what type of data field you want to create from here, and you can create it. Okay, so it will be for your hands-on practice. Any question for object creation and field creation?
I think we'll get more questions while we will start actually working on
Yes.
it. But
Right.
yeah, I'm still a little bit confused on like I'm getting the flow. Like first we have to create the app. In app we have to create the object,
Mhm.
and under object we are creating field. But I'm trying to fill the gap between object and tab. Can you little bit elaborate on that part?
Yes. Object is you have created object in the backend, but tab is until and unless you create a tab for that object, you won't be able to see that object here. Okay, we have to create a tab and then we have to add it here in the application. Okay, doesn't mean recruiting application, in any application. So in order to access that particular object, you have to create the tab. Otherwise, you won't be able to view it. It's like a gateway, you can say. From one room to another room, you have to enter. You have to pass from the gate, right? So tab will exactly same. So in order to access the object, you will have to go through the tab. Once created, without creating this particular tab, see what happens in your organization, then you will have an idea.
Okay. And suppose if we select that tab option for the object, later on we can change, we can create a tab for the object, right, Miss? If we meets that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question, guys?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So first, first you have created app, then object, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we can go other way as well. Like first we can, create object fields, and
Yes,
we can create app.
right. We can do that.
Okay, so as per your experience, so what do you say? Like, what's the best way? to do this?
App is not always that you will get the requirement from your client to create app field objects and fields, right?
Okay.
App you can create one time, and in that particular app you can maybe create multiple objects as well. So when you get the requirement, accordingly you create it. But for this demo, I created first application just to show you how the application looks like, and then created objects just to show you how we can add that particular object in that particular application. That's it.
All right. Okay. And for to make a record, we must have a field, right?
Yes. Otherwise, we won't be able to enter options, right?
Okay.
So for example, if I go
And
in,
okay. And the fields that you are creating, and once we fill out these fields, then the record will be created, right?
yes, yes.
All right. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, any other question? Now that field is not showing, maybe cache in cookies because of that. Sometimes it happens, or sometimes it takes time to show, but it will going to show it over here after some time. So don't worry. Just create this in your demo arm and see what happens.
Can we create two? Because I just created one while you were explaining. So can we
Yes,
create
yes.
another one?
You can create it other one, but the thing is, you may receive error because of the exact same name. Okay,
So I
so
can
just
say
give,
position two.
yes,
I can say position two and create, because I mean, for me, the learning is about doing it myself. So I'm more of a do it. Uh, that's why I did that way. I'm sorry.
okay, no problem.
Okay, great. I just had this question. That's
Anita, what you can do is you can go to the recording of first day, okay, and I am giving you some link here to
Okay.
create your developer org. Just copy this link and paste
Okay.
it somewhere in your laptop, okay? And then
Okay.
later on, when you are going through that session, just follow along because there we have taken how you can create your developer org, okay? So create your
Okay.
developer org and let me know if you have any questions or
Okay.
queries, or you can post a question in that group as well. System admin group.
Okay. So, what about the login ID? So everything is given in the recording session?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so guys, if you don't have any question anymore, I think then we can stop this session. So I'm just going to stop the screen sharing.